Cool. No slides from me tonight. I am your last speaker, I believe, in the way of you getting home. So you're stuck with me. Otherwise, before I begin, and I know my time started, but that's okay. I recorded myself before. I'm only 5 minutes, and I donated 2 minutes to Suki over here. But before I wanted to begin my talk, I just wanted to really mihi to all of our other speakers that have come before. You have no idea how powerful it is for women who are in the peak of their careers in the tech industry to stand up here and be courageous. It is unseen, it is unheard of. And so I really just want to mihi to our speakers who have come through and have been courageous with this. And so let me start my talk. I'm going to talk about the big digital problem that small businesses have. So I work in the small business space. I'm relatively new to the tech space. I am considered a toddler. Actually, probably a newborn. I've only been in the tech space for just over a year now, and I fell into it accidentally from following my curiosity. And to start off, I wanted to do a quick survey, a quick poll. Love that there's so many females in here. This is going to work well. Hands up if you have a side hustle. So you make earrings, or you go to the markets and you sell something. You sell pre-loved clothes on Instagram. Hands up if you have a side hustle, whether it's your full-time gig or your part-time thing that you do on the weekend on the side to earn extra cash. Registered or not, I'm not going to snitch. Just hands up. Awesome. Now, keep your hand up if your side hustle has a digital presence, whether that's a website, an Instagram page, Facebook group, whatever. Awesome. So a few hands drop down. That's all good. Cool. So kia ora, my name is Sarah Colcord, and I started what will turn out to be, started accidentally, what will turn out to be the largest Facebook group in New Zealand called Choice, formerly known as New Zealand Made Products. Now, I launched this Facebook group in March 2020, so last year. We were in our second week of our COVID level 4 lockdown, and my business had lost all of its contracts within a 2-hour period. That's all my income for the entire 2020, lost in 2 hours. And in my attempt to get my small business to the other side of this really uncertain time, I launched a Facebook group. And it was a place for small businesses to come to promote their business, their products, and their services to Kiwis who were ready and willing to put their hands in their pocket to support local. And so that's what I created. Now, within 3 months, the Facebook group grew to 500,000 members, 500,000 of which live in New Zealand, the other 50,000 which live overseas. That is 10% of the New Zealand population that belong to this Facebook group. And so we are now the largest Facebook group in New Zealand by miles. Thank you. Now, at its peak, which was about May last year, the group was insane. And why I say insane? There were 11,000 posts in the queue waiting to be vetted and approved or declined. And business owners were waiting up to 3 to 4 weeks to have a single post approved. Insane. And I had 20 volunteers moderating and approving and vetting every single post in between their family and their work commitments, and they were all volunteers as well. So it was an incredible machine going on. Now, in July 2020, I partnered with another small business after getting numerous pictures in my inbox, my emails, my Facebook page, saying, what are you going to do with the Facebook group? Are you going to take it to the next level? I was like, yes, absolutely. Don't know what that means, but we'll see. So long story short there is I ended up partnering with another small Kiwi business called Indigo, and we rebranded and launched a e-commerce multi-vendor marketplace version of the Facebook group to what we see today as choice.co.nz, as well as Choice, the Facebook group. Today, Choice boasts 550,000 members, over 5,000 vendor signups, over 65,000 products sold, And as of tonight, if you are a member of Choice, you might have seen my announcement. We have officially hit $2 million in sales generated through our website for small Kiwi businesses, which is incredible. So, what's the bad news? No, so what's the problem? Well, if there's one thing I've learned over the last 12 months of being on this journey with Choice, it's that New Zealand small businesses have a big digital problem. The truth is that New Zealand small businesses are pretty bloody terrible at going digital. Now, before lockdown, let me explain that. Before lockdown, many of them relied on brick and mortar stores, so your street stores, markets, to sustain their businesses, while others thought of digital as not really relevant to my industry or my trade, are nice to have but not essential. And so, when lockdown hit, many were caught off guard and found themselves having to hustle quickly to get their business online, flocking in the masses online to build their digital presence and to adopt digital tools. So, how big is this digital problem in New Zealand exactly? Well, the latest small business survey provides a good snapshot of small business life in Aotearoa. The finding was that New Zealand came 7th place out of 8 countries for small businesses having an e-commerce presence. In other words, we're doing pretty badly. And it's actually almost crazy that many small businesses in New Zealand do not have a website or even a digital presence, especially when 8 out of 10 Kiwis are going online, searching for information or even prices before making purchasing decisions. Crazy. Now, in the context of Choice, for many small businesses on our platform, again, what I've learned over the last 12 months is that Choice, the Facebook group, is actually for a lot of those in our Facebook group, a lot of the small businesses, is actually their first experience having a digital presence. So belonging to the Facebook group, that's mind-blowing. So, I get asked a lot, why should I adopt digital tools? Why should I set up a Facebook group, an Instagram, a Shopify website, a Choice store? So, what are the benefits and the risks of going digital? Well, if you think back to COVID lockdown, how many of you purchased groceries online? Or maybe you got caught out by the countdown time frame, so you had to go in store and wait in line instead. But how many of you purchased groceries online, continued to do your shopping, if not a little bit more shopping than usual online? Pretty good. Well, it's actually no surprise that consumer habits and preferences have and are changing, from where and how people work and commute to how they get together socially, including what they buy, dress, and where they get groceries. So consumer behaviour essentially has been altered drastically as a result of COVID, and many of these consumer behaviours are not going away or are not going to change. And so, with that in mind, the direction of the e-commerce space and digital technology that it's heading in, the direction, and online presence for small businesses using digital tools is invaluable, and the benefits are immediate. So why would you not? And interestingly, in 2020, the United Nations reported that 41% of the world's population is under, anyone want to take a guess? 25. 41% of the world's population is under the age of 25. So this group, I'm 24. Anyone under 25? I think I'm 24. I'm like questioning myself often about that. So essentially, this group is too big to not ignore. They're literally the future, and the habits of this cohort of people is literally driving the trends and the emerging market patterns, as well as shaping the future. And so with that being said, the risk is actually missing out and being left behind. And so again, in the context of Choice, for many small businesses on our platforms, this is the first experience that they've had with digital technology. And so we've actually been able to contribute as Choice to a larger vision of enabling small businesses to transform their businesses by adopting digital tools, such as ours, to create digital success. And so in the last 10 months since the launch of choice.co.nz, the website version, We've enabled small businesses to take on more staff thanks to the number of orders they're now receiving. Many are now selling in retail stores across the country and even in Australia for the first time. Others have moved into larger premises, and plans for growth that they had projected for 3 to 5 years out have now been brought forward by a number of years. Many have actually not gone back to the markets and have instead moved their entire business online. And excitingly, a number of them have sent their products overseas for the first time. And when you're a small business, like, that's a huge milestone, right? And lastly, we've also been able to empower wahine to turn their side hustles into viable businesses. And just on a side note, if you weren't aware, there were 11,000 redundancies that came over the COVID period. 10,000 of those were women. Crazy, right? And so we at Choice are really proud that we've been able to use our platforms to enable women in these industries that have been primarily impacted, such as hospitality and tourism and casual and part-time roles, to be able to turn their passions and their side hustles that they may have been running for a number of years into their full-time gig. And so, if we are to learn the lessons of lockdown, it's that we can't revert to our old ways of seeing digital tech or an online presence as a nice to have. And instead, it needs to be a necessity for our business to be sustainable. And to close, digitalization is a journey. So it is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm not asking you to go home after this and set up a Facebook page, Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, Reels, everything of the likes. That's not what I'm asking you to do. In fact, not all digital platforms and tools will be appropriate for your small business. But if you're wondering where and how do I even begin to navigate the digital world, as it can be quite overwhelming and isolating, the best thing you can do is, there's lots of free tools on Auntie Google, such as digitalboost.co.nz, little plug there. It's a free resource platform that gives you the skills to essentially launch your business into the digital world. And no, I don't have an association with them. I just love the work that they do. As well as, next step is to look into starting a digital strategy. That's a great place to start as a small business. If you're lucky as a small business to have an accountant or even an advisor, like very lucky, you're very lucky if you have those in your small business. Have a chat with them about starting a digital strategy and start that journey. Again, I'm not asking you to set up on every single platform. Just start small, get that Instagram page set up that you've been meaning to do to sell your pre-loved clothes, because that is a digital presence at the end of the day. And so, thank you so much. That's me.